We ranked every Redirection Pokemon in Gen 9 VGC from worst to best. I teamed up with fellow VGC content creator The Delibird to help out with some of these placements. Specifically, I'll be looking at the best Pokemon from every evolutionary line that get either Follow Me or Rage Powder, and I specified the best from the evolutionary line because for some of them, the middle stage with an Eviolite is better than the fully evolved form. I will still be ranking all 4 Ogerpon forms separately since they aren't part of an evolutionary line and have distinct enough uses. For each entry, I'll be going through the pros and cons of the Pokemon's stats, typing, ability, and other moves that help complement redirection for the times where you're taunted, the opponent is using spread moves that can't be redirected, or when you want to go on offense. The Pokemon is only being considered on its sets that use redirection, so Volcarona's offensive Quiver Dance setup sets will not be considered in its ranking, and neither will Ogerpon's Swords Dance or Focus Energy setup sets. If the Pokemon is flexible enough to do both at the same time, that will be considered. Starting off at number 22, we have Ariados. This is just worse Amoonguss in every single way. Strictly worse defensive stats at 70, 70, 70. Very similar typing of Bug Poison with the same number of resistances and weaknesses, but it lacks the Spore immunity that Grass types have, and the Water resistance which is good for walling Urshifu. It is immune to Spore with one of its abilities Insomnia, but if the opponent is Grass type, they'll be immune to Rage Powder and will be able to Spore their intended target. It has higher speed, which is worse for Trick Room, and only has 5 higher attack than Amoonguss, so its offenses still aren't great. The only redeeming qualities of Ariados are its signature move Toxic Thread, which poisons and lowers the target's speed, as well as String Shot, which harshly lowers both opponents' speed. At number 21, we have Furret. Terrible stats, terrible typing, no abilities, and while it does have a good move pool, it's not good enough to make it viable. If we're being as generous as possible, I could see Furret having use with Frisk in closed team sheets, like if you're playing online ladder or in a draft league. It could redirect Shadow Ball or other single target ghost moves due to its normal typing. It gets Helping Hand, Sucker Punch, U-Turn, Knockoff, Super Fang, and Endeavor, all genuinely good moves, but you'll see that it's just incredibly outclassed by all other Pokemon on this list, and some other non-redirectors like Incineroar. The lack of a good ability is really what holds it back, since mono-normal types really have to offer something special if they want to be successful. At number 20, we have Venomoth. We finally have a Pokemon with good ability options, as Venomoth gets Shield Dust, Tinted Lens, and Wonder Skin, with Shield Dust probably being preferred for redirection sets, as it makes it so that you can't get flinched from Fake Out. This also allows it to more comfortably redirect other single target attacking moves with guaranteed secondary effects like Nuzzle and Acid Spray. It has the same Bug Poison typing as Ariados with nearly the same defenses of 70, 60, 75. It also has some more useful supporting moves compared to Ariados, with Sleep Powder, Stun Spore, U-Turn, Endeavor, and Screech, which comes off of its 90 speed stat as opposed to Ariados' 40. It does get Quiver Dance, and you probably wouldn't use it like that if you're also using Redirection, but I could maybe see a Quiver Dance Redirection hybrid set to have faster Sleep Powders. Either way, it's better than anything Ariados could ever do. At number 19, we have Scovillain. I joke about it a lot on this channel, which is that Scovillain is a Gen 3 Pokemon released in Gen 9 because its stats are painfully bad. 65, 65, 65 bulk is pretty terrible for a Mon whose role here is to be taking hits, but due to its typing, ability, and move options, it's slightly better than the previous 3 Mons. Grass Fire only has 3 weaknesses to not very common offensive types in VGC, with the Fire typing allowing it to absorb Will-O-Wisps, and the Grass typing allowing it to absorb Spores from Smeargle, since Amoonguss would be immune to the redirection. It gets the ability Chlorophyll, and there was actually a gimmicky strategy going around in restricted formats where you pair it with a clear amulet Koraidon and use its signature move Spicy Extract on it to raise its attack by 2 stages, and then support it with Rage Powder Redirection, which is again more use than any of the previous mons. At number 18, we have Toadscroll. Probably the worst typing and ability so far, but best stats and access to the single best move so far, Spore. Due to its mostly negative ability, its only practical uses have been with Wheezing, but since those uses have actually seen decent tournament results, the first Pokemon so far to have seen any results in Scarlet and Violet, I think this is a fitting placement. Spore on a 100 speed stat is no joke in lower power level formats where the average speed is much lower, and with Toadscroll getting Acid Spray, Knockoff, Taunt, Leech Seed, Toxic, and some good attacking moves like Giga Drain and Earth Power, it has a decent use. However, you really have to commit to the strategy of having a team that doesn't care about its abilities, or don't use it with Wheezing and just face the fact that you're never going to get a fast Spore, and in that case, you just use Amoonguss, so it's not very easy to just slap on a team like most of the other mons higher up on the list. At number 17, we have Vivian. Like Venomoth, Vivian is an early route bug that actually has some really good abilities with Shield Dust, Compound Eyes, and Friend Guard. As good as Friend Guard usually is, due to Vivian's bad bulk but decent speed and access to Sleep Powder, Compound Eyes is usually the preferred ability. Due to Compound Eyes increasing the user's accuracy by 1.3, Sleep Powder will improve from 75% to 98%, and Hurricane, a high power stab move, will increase from 70% to 91%. It also gets Tailwind, Pollen Puff, U-Turn, and Struggle Bug, good utility moves for when you don't want to use Rage Powder. It has the benefit over Toadscroll and some of the Pokemon higher on the list of having an accurate Sleep move on a medium speed stat without having any significant setup, like needing an ally that eliminates abilities, a weather condition, or a field condition that could go away with the right counterplay. At number 16, we have Pachirisu.
Although Pachirisu is at 16th place, it's one of the 4 world champions on this list. Although Pachirisu's success was way back in 2014, its standout traits are still present, and with the right format, it could see success again. Its stats aren't amazing, with 60 HP, 70 defense, and 90 special defense, but when fully invested, it is able to take some hits. Its ability Volt Absorb makes it immune to electric attacks, making it a solid partner for Pokemon weak to electric. Its other support moves in Nuzzle and Super Fang gives it pressure other than just being a follow me bot. Nuzzle deals some chip damage and breaks things like Focus Sashes while spreading paralysis. With a decent speed of 95, it can move before certain partners and hit foes with a Super Fang, dealing half of their health, allowing an ally to follow up and finish them off. Although niche in Scarlet and Violet, it could possibly use moves like Baby Doll Eyes, Fake Tears, Electro Web, or Charm. While not seeing any huge successes since 2014, in early Regulation G, it was used as a niche counter to Miraidon. With Volt Absorb, it was immune to Miraidon's electric attacks, and with Terra Fairy, it would become immune to its Draco Meteor, making it a perfect counter to Miraidon that was immune to all its attacks.
At number 15, we have Jumpluff. We're starting to get into mons that actually see some pretty good use, with Jumpluff being very solid on Sun teams due to its ability Chlorophyll. It has the highest speed of any Chlorophyll user other than Whimsicott, which uses Prankster, giving it the fastest Sleep Powder in the game. It has solid defensive stats for Redirection, with its biggest weakness probably being its typing, as Grass Flying has 5 weaknesses, including a 4x weakness to Ice. Other great moves it gets are Tailwind, Encore, U-Turn, Pollen Puff, Endeavor, Charm, Strength Sap, and Helping Hand, with its most common item being the Covert Cloak to not get flinched from Fake Out. At number 14, we have Magmar. We have our first not fully evolved Pokemon, and Magmar gets the pick over Magmortar because Magmar only has 10 less HP, defense, and special defense, so the defensive boost from the Eviolite is usually worth it. It has 2 useful abilities that synergize well with Redirection in Flame Body and Vital Spirit. Flame Body is good to force contact moves into a potential burn, and Vital Spirit is good for redirecting sleep moves, which Magmar can actually consistently do since it uses Follow Me, not Rage Powder. Mono Fire is a solid defensive typing that comes with a passive burn immunity, which Magmar can also dish out manually itself with Will-O-Wisp. Some of its other supporting moves include Acid Spray, Taunt, Helping Hand, and Clear Smog. At number 13, we have Electabuzz. Very similar to Magmar, being another Eviolite user with the exact same defensive stats but higher speed. It can do pretty much all the things I said for Magmar, except as an electric type that can spread and be immune to paralysis instead of burn. And that's the main reason why Electabuzz is slightly higher, since Sneasler was running rampant with Dire Claw and Reg H, and when combined with Vital Spirit, an ability that Electabuzz also gets, it's immune to 2 out of the 3 status conditions that Dire Claw can cause, being a great absorber of that move. It also has access to speed control with Electro Web and pivoting with Volt Switch, both things that Magmar lacks. At number 12, we have Sinistcha. Solid defensive stats, solid defensive typing, access to Trick Room, and great healing options puts Sinistcha right around the middle of this ranking. While it can't consistently redirect these moves, having a built-in Spore and Fake Out immunity is really nice to have, as it allows for more item flexibility, where it will typically use the Rocky Helmet or Citrus Berry. Speaking of Citrus Berry, its ability is a free 25% to your ally on switch-in, with it also getting Matcha Gotcha, Life Dew, and Strength Sap for healing itself and or ally. Its flaws are that it gets pretty much every healing option except Pollen Puff, which would be really nice. It has an average HP stat and some common weaknesses, as Tornadus, Fluttermane, Incineroar, Chien-Pao, and some more all threaten super effective damage on it. At number 11, we have Ogerpon Teal Mask.
Ogerpon's weakest form still ends up in the top half of this list. Despite being newly introduced halfway through the Scarlet and Violet lifespan, Ogerpon is one of the best redirectors we have ever seen. A Grass-type Pokemon with access to Follow Me rather than Rage Powder gives it the incredible ability to redirect other Grass types, notably Amoonguss. While being a Grass type itself, it can redirect a Spore and be immune to it. On top of that solid trait, Ogerpon has a very solid offensive move pool, giving it incredible flexibility to function as a redirector and damage dealer at the same time. A base 120 attack is solid, and it has strong moves like Ivy Cudgel, Wood Hammer, Superpower, Play Rough, and Knockoff. It really can tech to deal with any particular threat. Teal Mask form also has the Defiant ability, allowing it to function well in the face of Intimidators. In addition to Follow Me, it has other solid status moves like Encore, Taunt, Swords Dance, Helping Hand, and Spiky Shield. Teal Mask can only terrestrialize to the Grass type, but when it does, it gains a speed boost on top of it. These are all very strong traits, and while being the most flexible of the Ogerpon forms, seeing as it has seen the most unique sets over the years, Teal Mask is still the weakest of the 4.
At number 10, we have Brute Bonnet.
Brute Bonnet, the past Paradox form of Amoonguss, does have a lot of the same traits as Amoonguss. It's a slow, bulky Grass type with both Spore and Rage Powder. It's no wonder it's a solid Pokemon. Similar to Ogerpon in the sense that it's a redirector with solid offense, boasting a base attack of 127, while having amazing bulk with 111 HP and 99 in both defenses, meaning it's much bulkier than Amoonguss is. The main thing holding it back is its Grass Dark typing, which leaves it with 7 weaknesses, and a quad weakness to Bug, which is particularly difficult when Pokemon in the format are running U-turn frequently. While this typing made it generally inferior to Amoonguss in most formats, in Regulation I it was able to pair incredibly well with Koraidon, to get a stat boost from photosynthesis when the sun was up. With a Citrus Berry and a defense photosynthesis boost, this Pokemon was absurdly bulky. While this typing held it back initially, it actually turned out to be a boon when the most common restricted Pokemon in Regulation I were Calyrex Shadow Rider and Miraidon, whose ghost and electric attacks are resisted by Brute Bonnet. Having access to Sucker Punch is a priority move that not only gave Brute Bonnet good damage, but the ability to move before these fast restricted Pokemon. With all these perfect circumstances lining up, it was able to win the 2025 World Championships very handily.
At number 9, we have Volcarona. One of the best, if not the best, offensive Pokemon on this list, with 135 special attack, and even when it's not using Quiver Dance, it still hits pretty hard with Heat Wave and Giga Drain for coverage to hit the water and rock types that resist fire. As a redirector, it's great too. It has solid 85, 65, 105 bulk, with Bug Fire having the important resistances to Fighting, Ice, and Fairy. The 4x weakness to Rock isn't that big of an issue since no one uses Stealth Rock in doubles, and there aren't that many meta-relevant Mons that use Rock Slide in Gen 9. Its ability Flame Body works great with Redirection, as that can punish contact moves like I said with Magmar, with a Rocky Helmet being good if you want to double down on that. Volcarona also gets great moves to complement Rage Powder with Will-O-Wisp, Struggle Bug, Tailwind, and Morning Sun. At number 8, we have Mousehold. At first glance, Mousehold might just seem like Furret 2.0, being a mono normal type with bad defensive stats, but due to a few tools it was given and a higher speed stat, it is significantly better than Furret. Its main draw is its ability Friend Guard that reduces the damage dealt to its ally by 25%. This complements Redirection very well, since you can either redirect and take the damage for your partner, or not redirect and still reduce the damage dealt to your partner passively through Friend Guard. Mousehold also has a fast, non-prankster taunt and encore, which is sometimes better than having prankster with all the dark types and priority blockers around. It also gets beat up to activate strategies like Rage Fist Annihilate and Stamina Archaludon, Helping Hand to increase ally damage, and Super Fang for consistent damage. At number 7, we have Smeargle. Easily the worst defensive stats of any Pokemon on this list, but Smeargle completely makes up for it with its move pool of every move in the game minus Dark Void and stuff. Its typical moveset along with Follow Me include Fake Out and Spore, with the fourth move being format dependent, typically either Decorate, Wide Guard, or Spiky Shield. Being able to consolidate all of these great utility moves into one Pokemon is so convenient, especially since most of them have priority, so Smeargle's bad defenses won't even be that much of a hindrance in getting these moves off. Combined with a Focus Sash, it will almost always be able to last long enough to make use of Fake Out and at least one other utility move. It has the ability options of Own Tempo, Technician, and Moody, with Moody generally being the preferred ability due to its potential to raise speed, allowing for a fast Spore. It allows for the very gimmicky but worth mentioning strategy of Power of Alchemy Alolan Muck, with Smeargle's low defenses actually being beneficial since it means that Moody gets past to Muck faster. At number 6, we have Ogerpon Cornerstone.
Unlike Teal Mask Ogerpon, the other three forms all need to hold their respective masks. In Cornerstone's case, it makes it a Grass Rock type, and changes its Ivy Cudgel to a Rock type move. Cornerstone's ability is Sturdy, and when terastallizing it can only Terra to the Rock type, shedding its Sturdy but gaining a defense boost. While holding any of the three masks, Ogerpon gets a 20% boost to all its damage, making it hit very hard with its stab moves like Ivy Cudgel and Woodhammer. Cornerstone, however, is considered worse than the other two forms for a couple reasons. While Sturdy is a good ability to have on a Redirector, guaranteeing it can survive at least 2 attacks, this ability does have anti-synergy with its terastallization effect of gaining +1 defense. If it wants to have more bulk to redirect, it can terastallize for a defense boost, but it loses Sturdy. And if it wants to make use of its Sturdy, it has to forego a possible defense boost. Woodhammer, a common attack on Ogerpon, also has anti-synergy with Sturdy, as taking any recoil damage will disable your own ability. For this reason, Power Whip became the more common grass move on Cornerstone, but running a low accuracy move always leaves room for crucial misses, something that many players prefer to avoid. Cornerstone would, however, still see success in Reg G, as a Sturdy Redirector is very valuable in restricted formats, where powerful legendary Pokemon can break through high defensive stats, and Sturdy guarantees it can survive any attack. Another benefit to running Cornerstone is access to a 100% accurate Rock type attack, as accurate Rock attacks are very rare in Pokemon overall, and strong stab Rock types are even rarer.
At number 5, we have Clefairy. Like Mousehold, Clefairy has the very useful Friend Guard ability, which is why it represents its evolutionary line and not Clefable. Like Magmar and Electabuzz, Clefairy has access to the Eviolite, which makes its really low 48-65 defenses actually decent. Clefairy also has a fantastic supporting move pool to complement Redirection, with moves like Sing, After You, Encore, Gravity, Life Dew, Knockoff, Icy Wind, Thunder Wave, and Helping Hand. You'll always want to use Protect though, since it allows you to maximize the amount of turns Friend Guard is active, along with all the usual reasons to use Protect in VGC. Its mono fairy typing allows it to absorb Draco Meteors and comfortably tank close combats. Its main weaknesses are similar to the other not fully evolved Pokemon, which is an average HP stat, as well as getting completely shut down by Taunt since its offenses suck and it can't hold a Mental Herb if it's already holding an Eviolite. Getting its Eviolite knocked off is also annoying, but unlike Magmar and Electabuzz, it at least resists Dark. At number 4, we have Ogerpon Hearthflame.
Ogerpon Hearthflame is our second best Ogerpon form on this list. Many may be shocked and have expected Hearthflame to be the number 1 Ogerpon, even though Hearthflame is the only Ogerpon form to have won the World Championships in 2024. In terms of being a redirector, it does land second. So what sets Hearthflame above Teal Mask and Cornerstone? Again, holding its Hearthflame Mask changes its type to Grass and Fire, while giving it the ability Mold Breaker. This Fire Grass typing is uniquely good both offensively and defensively. While its ability doesn't contribute anything defensively, it does put it a number of steps ahead in the offense department. Mold Breaker is a decent offensive ability, allowing Hearthflame to still pressure Pokemon that would otherwise wall it, like Heatran. But its Embody aspect when terrestrializing to fire is what sets this Ogerpon form over the edge offensively, as it gains an attack boost on terrestrialization. This may not seem like anything crazy, but keep in mind that Terraing into fire is gaining 2 attack boosts, one from Terra Fire and one from the stat increase. Terra Fire Ivy Cudgels can pick up one-shots on many neutral targets, and even 2 hits on targets that resist it. While being the most offensive of the Ogerpons, it has still seen incredible success with very defensive sets, like when it won San Antonio 2024 with a near max HP, max defense EV spread. Hearthflame can still have heavily invested defenses and dish out huge damage with its Terra Boost, making it very flexible and threatening in any matchup.
At number 3, we have Ogerpon Wellspring.
Our last and best Ogerpon form in terms of being a redirector is Wellspring. Again, this Ogerpon needs to hold the Wellspring Mask, which makes it a grass and water type Pokemon. Its base ability is arguably the best ability of any Ogerpon form, and is a huge part of what makes it the best redirector of the bunch, Water Absorb. Although this Pokemon already quad resists water type attacks, having an immunity to it while healing, if hit by a water move, is the icing on the cake. This is most impactful when playing against Urshifu Rapid Strike, one of the most dominant Pokemon in VGC. Being able to redirect its signature move Surging Strikes, and be immune to it is very impactful in a match, especially since many Urshifu Rapid Strike like to run the Choice Scarf item. If they lock themselves into a water attack, Ogerpon can completely wall out this legendary threat. Many redirection Pokemon love to be bulky to be able to redirect multiple attacks. When terrestrializing, Wellspring turns into a mono water type, which really increases its bulk. Not only does Wellspring gain a special defense boost on Terra, but it also sheds all its weaknesses to Poison, Flying, and Bug. All other Ogerpon forms still maintain at least one of their weaknesses after Terraing, making Wellspring's Terra uniquely good defensively. Water and grass coverage is also particularly useful, with a water-type Ivy Cudgel and Woodhammer. Wellspring can also run Horn Leech for further longevity. Like all other Ogerpon forms, after it Terras, it pressures significant damage with its Stab Ivy Cudgel. That's it from me. Thanks so much XBell for having me on the channel today.
At number 2, we have Indeedee Female. Probably the best or second best ability of any Pokemon on this list, as Psychic Surge not only replaces any existing terrain, it allows for the Psy-Spam archetype and blocks priority, which is incredibly useful as counterplay to Fake Out. It's also the only Pokemon in the game to get both Follow Me and Trick Room, other than Smeargle of course, and while it's not incredibly useful for your Redirection Mon to have Trick Room, it allows for much more flexibility for yourself and unpredictability for your opponent when both of your Mons can set Trick Room. It gets the other supporting moves of Helping Hand, Imprison, and Heal Pulse, with solid attacking moves of Psychic and Dazzling Gleam. Its normal typing grants it the valuable Ghost immunity, with it only having 2 weaknesses to Bug and Dark. While a U-turn weakness isn't great, it's never going to get one shot since U-turn is very rarely used as a stab move. A Dark weakness would normally make it susceptible to Sucker Punch, but as long as it has its terrain active, Sucker Punch will fail. Because of its few weaknesses, it has pretty neutral matchups to the top meta threats like Urshifu Rapid, Flutter Mane, Raging Bolt, and Tornadus. Its drawbacks are that its HP and defense aren't very good, and a Dark weakness still makes it more susceptible to an Incineroar knockoff. Finally, at number 1, we have Amoonguss, the second or third best defensive stats of any redirector at 114, 70, 80. A very low speed stat that allows it to move first in Trick Room. It has very useful resistances that allow it to wall common meta threats like Urshifu Rapid, Iron Hands, and Rillaboom with a very workable 4 regular weaknesses. It has access to a 100% accurate Sleep move, an untauntable ally healing move that doubles as an attacking move to deal good chip damage, and an ability that heals a third of its HP when switching, giving it more item flexibility. When combined with a good Terra type like Water, it's near impossible to prevent Amoonguss from redirecting an attack and allowing its ally to do whatever it wants. You can't ignore it since it can also put its opponents to sleep to give its ally better positioning, or heal its ally to give it better positioning. Really, its only drawbacks are that it uses Rage Powder, not Follow Me, and its offenses aren't that great, but they're still better than some of the bottom tier mons like Furret. There's a reason that Amoonguss has been on 3 Worlds winning teams and has been a top pick in almost every format that it's been available. It's one of the best VGC Pokemon of all time and is no doubt the best redirector in the game. And that's every redirection Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet ranked. Thanks again to the Delibird for helping out with some of these placements. I'll leave his channel in the description, so make sure to check him out if you want to see some great VGC content. Anyway, if you want to support me and my channel, just leave a nice comment since I do read all comments. You can also become a member for 99 US cents a month to get a badge next to your name and early video access like all of these lovely people. If you want bonus content, check out my second channel, Extra Bell, where I post videos I've scrapped from the main channel, as well as more casual, unscripted videos. Likes are also one of the ways that YouTube determines if a video should be passed around to more people, so if you feel that this video deserves to be, I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching.